Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. You're here on the home of the slightly above average ship review. I'm your host KPZ. Today we have one of probably the most hated ships in the game. Very polarizing. I say that when I say polarizing, I mean probably 90% of the people that own this ship think it sucks. We are in the American Tier 6 Premium Battleship, Florida. So Florida is a lot like the Georgia in that it's what I would consider a fast battleship, or the North Carolina. I think it's actually just supposed to be like the North Carolina, but with a different gun and turret arrangement. So it has 3 4-barrel turrets, and they're only 14 inch guns, so you can't penetrate a whole lot with them above your tiers. So this is one of these ships that when you're top tier, the potential is there to have a really nice game. When you are bottom tier, the potential is there to be going right back to the port after the first couple of minutes. So the Florida, and I didn't do a port review, and I'll apologize in advance for that. The Florida, the way I build it, I run Willis Lee in it to help the survivability. And I build it to have like good AA. The AA rating is a 91. And I build it to have good secondaries. I use the secondary mod in mod slot 1. So the secondaries reach out to 7.6 kilometers with this build. Of course, I am also running Porcupine in row 2 for Willis Lee. In row 1, I do use the whatever it's called, the swatting it flies, or whatever you call it, the fighter plane one, to make sure AA better. I can't remember the name of that stuff, you know. I need some ginkgo biloba. What can I say? All right, so we're just moving out here in the Florida, trying not to get clobbered early on. As you can see, there are ships all around us. It's really important in the Florida not to get surrounded by enemy ships. You just don't have the armor to stand up for that. So it's really good in a map like this if you can take one side, kind of isolate yourself against your enemies. And that way, it'll be easier for you to deal. This ship does not handle HE spam well. It does not handle being fired at by multiple ships well at all. Even with those heals, this ship reacts badly to all of that stuff. So you generally don't want to mess with that if you don't have to. All right, so we got a Moss over here. We got a cruiser of some sort that I'm not seeing over there. And we got a battleship of some sort over here too. Good times. Oh, maybe that's an Nuremberg. Never mind. I can barely see. All right, so, and that's not a function of my vision failing. That's a function of I went from a full screen video editor that worked very poorly to a much more efficient video editor, but the editing screen is much smaller. I can't zoom into it. So someday when I get high-speed internet and I get a big TV screen, I might even stream a game or two. Imagine that. Imagine. All right, so we hit the Nuremberg for some pretty good damage. Just looking out here at these other ships, making sure they're not going to shoot at me, which is vital to the survival of a Florida. Although I see that Nelson, I'm very tempted because he looks like he's full broadside. And that is a target you can't really pass up. He is not full broadside, but he's broadside enough, although I didn't aim very well, so I'm not expecting those shells to do a lot. As you can see, we're getting raked with HE fire from the Nuremberg. So you can't do that. You can't turn your attention away from the ships closest to you. And we didn't really do anything to the Nelson, so further proof that you shouldn't do that. So the Florida, one thing I'll mention about the turrets, you can see it's got 2 barrels and then kind of like a space, and then 2 more barrels. I think I mentioned this in my Florida Kraken fail video. The Jean Bart's turrets were supposed to be like that and have like a divider in between them in real life or something like that to prevent the turret from being totally knocked out, just one side or the other. And I really wish Wargaming would start to implement that for the ships that actually had it in real life. Yes, I know, balancing, blah, 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 whatever. You put Hot Wheels on boats. I mean, come on, give me a break. All right, Nuremberg coming around the corner here. As you can see, you can do damage to cruisers with these 14-inch guns. And look at this, sneaky. The Moss is going to try to come around the corner. We have hit our secondary consumable. We're going to totally ignore the Nuremberg. And we're going to get some shots off on the Moss and do a teeny tiny bit of damage. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a Normandy. Here I was saying it was a Nuremberg. I guess he didn't do a lot of damage. We're going to do a drive-by and thankfully escape with our lives. You can see the secondaries going off. These are pretty good secondaries. They're not Italian secondaries. They're not German secondaries, but they may be the most powerful secondaries in the U.S. fleet. So I do spec that secondary mod in row 1 to boost their range. Like I said, the range of the secondaries, 7.6 kilometers. All right, Moss is a little more injured, so we're going to shoot at him and try to get him and his torpedo-loving ways out of there. And we finish him off. Kill number 1, close quarters expert. All right. The other thing is the Florida doesn't turn like super great, so there we got just absolutely smashed by the Normandy. You know, when you're dealing with multiple targets, this ship can't do that. It can't maneuver quickly enough, although I don't really know if any battleship could to prevent that from happening. Here, the Normandy runs aground on the island, so we're just going to not do a lot of damage there. And we're going to close in here, just trying to get my reload. And it can bow tank lower tier ships pretty well. You can see we just bow tank that salvo, and not really a lot of damage there, but don't think you can bow tank at tier 7. You'll get wrecked. You'll get wrecked, I think, against the West Virginia. Somebody's shooting us from behind. Don't really know who that would be, but we're going to finish off the Nuremberg here. All right, we're not going to finish off the Nuremberg here. We're going to let our secondaries finish off the Nuremberg here. Hopefully. I guess we're going to shoot him the old-fashioned way. All right, never mind. Kill number 2. Now let's see who's shooting at us. Oh, that annoying person in the Dallas. You know, I just got to say, as somebody who watched The Hunt for Red October, it is very hard for me to say Dallas, thinking of a U.S. ship, and not have it be a submarine. All right, we're going to send the first 2 turrets at the Dallas. You can see there when we were broadside, he didn't have any problem damaging us. And as you can also see, we are on fire all over the place. So again, running the survivability commander in the Florida is my best advice to you. I've probably played 25 to 30 games in the Florida, and it's just my belief. This is just one of these ships that does good when you're top tier. If it's all tier 6 ships and 1 tier 5 or 1 tier 7, you may or may not have a great game. If it's tier 7s and 6s, you're going to get clobbered, because there are ships that will go right through your armor no matter what angle you're at. And now we're starting to receive fire from the other side of the map, so that's just absolutely delightful. We'll shoot at this Mutsu and hope that we do anything resembling damage. I'm going to turn here. As you can see, you do have like a better than average heal for the U.S. ships. I wouldn't necessarily call it a super heal, but I'm not about to be burned down again by this stupid Dallas. So we'll shoot our front 2 turrets at him and not do a whole lot. These are overpens. You know, so 14s, you're overpenning down to your cruiser. Unfortunately, he's giving us that full broadside, so I don't really have a lot of options here. But the guns are definitely not great at all. You know, we should have smoked him. He was broadside. But you're going to overpen some of these cruisers, and then the ships you're going to need to penetrate, like the battleships, you won't. But we do get a hit to Citadel and kill number 3. and we're on fire. So I'm really glad that destroyer is tagging along and helping me out and giving me a little bit of will to rebuild. Although I don't think it is kicking in yet. But if it is, it's not. It's not kicking in yet. But anyway, that's a good call on his part to help me out here. We will try to fire. No, we won't try to fire. We're just going to go behind this island. So who should buy the Florida? Well, if you're a masochist, you should buy the Florida. If you have a high-ranking Willis Lee, you could consider the Florida. If you are from Florida, I would imagine you want the Florida. And if you really love U.S. battleships, you could buy the Florida. I think the Florida is slightly more valuable now. As you can see, nice hit to Citadel there on the Mutsu. We do unlock the high caliber medal. It is slightly more valuable now that there are more aircraft carriers in the game. I got some clear sky medals the day that I'm recording this voiceover in the Florida. So that definitely is a possibility. Like I said, with this build, my AA rating is 91. You know, but at the end of the day, it is a battleship at tier 6 with 14-inch guns and an armor profile resembling Swiss cheese. So you're going to have a bad day if you go down tier. And you're going to have a better day if you're top tier. But that doesn't mean you still can't get smashed like we were smashed by that Normandy. If we hadn't been smashed by that Normandy, we'd probably have a lot more than 1,000 hit points right now. And as you can see, this destroyer is helping me out. Will to rebuild. I sense death is near. The last shots. And look at that. Hit to Citadel. Kill number 4. It's just a flesh wound medal. Unfortunately for me, we lose this match. So here we are on the defeat screen in the Florida. High caliber medal. Close quarters expert. It's just a flesh wound. 108,888 total damage, 4 big kills, and we ended up with 581,642 silver, 4711 ship XP, and 8807 commander XP in the loss. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Here on the scoreboard, we're not even at the top of the scoreboard, but we did have 4 kills, and in the Florida, that is a good game, no matter how you slice it. Anyway, boys and girls, I'll see you next time. I appreciate you watching so very much. Thanks a lot.